Hello and welcome back to Crypto Saving Experts, where we talk about the latest cryptocurrency news and take a look at the markets so that we all know exactly what is happening. My name is Jess and we do these live streams every single weekday, so please make sure to like, subscribe and hit that bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. Let's take a look at what's going on in the chat this morning. Good morning, Jay Mizzle. Good morning, Rob. Good morning, Monkey Nuts. Thank you very much for tuning in. As always, I very much appreciate it. We've got lots of news to be discussing today. We're going to take a look at the Bitcoin price down another 1%. We're going to take a look at Solana dropping 15% in one day, and we are going to take a look at what's happening with these Ethereum ETFs as well, alongside a lot of other stuff. So make sure to stay tuned until the very end. Don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that bell notification button. Let's first take a look at what's going on with Bitcoin here. So we are down another 1%, Ethereum down another 1.5%. Ethereum is down 20% within the last week, and Bitcoin is down almost 14%. This is painful. This is really, really painful. So we're seeing here that BNB is up 3%. We do have some altcoins that have been performing nicely within the last 24 hours. Polkadot is up 2%. Ton is up 7%. But on the whole, the markets have not had a great week. And this 1 week column here is showing that it's been pretty poor. If we take a look at what's been going on the Ethereum Bitcoin chart here, you can see on the 1 hour chart, yes, Ethereum's starting to have some sort of bounce here. But will that continue? That's the real question here. We've hit this level back down at around 0.05 and we have started to see a bounce. I would love to see this continue because as I've said, sorry, can you hear this? Is the sound okay on this stream or not? Let me know in the chat. James had no earphones in. It's all working. Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much. Just give me a little scare to start the day off, James. That's fine. Let's see what's going on here. So on the daily chart, we are seeing some sort of bounce here, which is great because, as I said, I wanted to start diversifying, and I did choose to start diversifying. And then I started to see this chart fall off a cliff, and that scared me a little bit. But we're building back up, and I do still have some confidence here in what can happen for some altcoins in this market. But let's take a look at what else is going on. I want to take a look at Solana here quickly because this has fell a huge amount within one day. You can see that we went all the way from up at $199 to down to $165 here, down 16.6% in one single candle for Solana. Now, we've not seen that in a while. Solana has been very, very positive. Jonathan says orange is up 14% today. Let's take a look at that. Orange USDT. Here we go. So this is pumping nicely here. We have seen a little bit of a pullback. So we were trading up at 0.69. We did come back down to 0.39, down 43%, but we are now down only 25% since that high last week. And we are now trading at 52%. So that's been performing pretty nicely there. If we take a look at what else has been going on for the Ethereum chart, you can see we are seeing some sort of bounce this morning. This chart is looking a lot more promising than what we were seeing yesterday. So if we take a look at BTC USDT here, this chart again looking a little bit more promising. As we said, if we go to the 4 hour chart and see what's happening here, as we said in yesterday's stream, Bitcoin can see 20-30% pullbacks in a bull market, and it can't be said that it's anything out of the ordinary. That's pretty common. We will see that multiple times in bull markets going off what's happened historically. Now, this pullback so far, we've had a maximum of a 17.6% drawback. Now, is that enough? Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if now that's it and we just start to see some sideways action here and then hopefully see some more bullish momentum. However, there is the possibility that we can go much lower. As I said, 30% is a typical loss for Bitcoin, pullback for Bitcoin in this part of the market. So that could pull us all the way back down to $51,000. Now, as we said in yesterday's stream, we are now only 30 days, or it depends what kind of what website you're using to track the Bitcoin halving, but it's in around 28-30 days. Now, typically pre-halving, we do see some sort of dump because the Bitcoin halving is seen as this really bullish event. And in the long term, we are seeing the Bitcoin inflation rate being halved. So that's super bullish for the long term. But in the short term, we do see it have a negative impact on the markets going off what's happened historically. So we have seen Bitcoin have significant pullbacks. In 2016, we saw a 40% pullback over the halving, and in 2020, we saw a 20% pullback over the halving. So having this pullback here, it's the timing is right. The timing is right. So when we're seeing this pullback of 16%, did I just say 17%? And we can see that this is in the same sort of time frame. In the previous two cycles, it was between 28 and 14 days prior to the halving that we started to see those pullbacks. This was about 31 days prior to the halving, so it is kind of within that sort of same time frame. And so with that kind of knowledge, there is some doubt in me here that this pullback could last for a couple of weeks. We do know if we look at the typical pullback from previous cycles, pullbacks can last 2-3 weeks. That's not uncommon. If we go back to a previous cycle now, let's reset this price scale and move all the way back to the previous cycle, back to 2020. You can see that, for example, we made a high of $42,000 on January the 21st, and we did not break that level once again for 31 days. That's a month-long pullback. If we take a look at this one here, we created a high on the 21st of February at $58,000. We did not then see that price for 19 days. Other pullbacks have been shorter. For example, we have one here. This pullback lasted around 5 days, but then if you count it actually kind of having another significant move to the upside, we're looking at 21 days. So we do typically see 3-4 week pullbacks for Bitcoin in a bull market. Now, so far this pullback has not been so long. We are currently in a pullback that started around a week ago, 6 days ago. So when we're looking at this, if we're looking at previous cycles, we could say, do you know what, this is going to last a hell of a lot longer than a lot of us want it to. We could be looking at this kind of price point for a week or 2 or 3, and that's absolutely fine. That fits in with the previous cycles, and it's time to accumulate, in my opinion. However, we do have the Bitcoin ETFs. Things seem to be moving a lot faster than they have historically. We've seen a new all-time high pre-halving. That has not happened in the history of Bitcoin. So maybe this pullback will be shorter and earlier than expected, and we can continue on with that bullish momentum. That is also a possibility here. So when we're looking at this, there's a ton of possibilities. I think if we were purely going off what happened in previous cycles, had we not created a new all-time high pre-halving, I would be very confident that a pullback here signals 3-4 weeks worth of downwards momentum. We're looking at a 20-30% pullback in that period of time, because that's what's happened historically. But this time Bitcoin is acting a little bit differently. It seems to be having this bullish momentum a lot faster than expected, and a lot more there's been a lot more inflows than expected. We've actually seen the amount of inflows for the cryptocurrency space year to date exceed the amount of inflows that we saw in the entire of 2021. That was our news story yesterday, so that was absolutely insane. So with that, we are seeing Bitcoin move up a lot faster than expected. And maybe for that reason, we could see the pullbacks not necessarily last as long as they have done in previous cycles as well. So definitely something to be aware of. But with those two kind of different mindsets, when I'm looking at these markets, I'm personally dollar cost averaging in, because if I'm dollar cost averaging in and the price goes down, I can bring my average entry price down. If I'm dollar cost averaging in and the price goes up, then brilliant. I wait till the next pullback to make some more investments. That's just how I deal with my portfolio there. But by now, if you are in these markets, you should have created a strategy. If you have not, make sure to go to cryptosavingexpert.com, make a free account and go to Crypto 101 courses. In there, we've got an entire course where you can learn how to build your own cryptocurrency strategy to best manage your portfolio. It's 100% important to make a strategy and stick to it, because it is so hard to stick to know what to do and to remove your emotions from this market, especially in a bull market. So creating a strategy and sticking to it is super important. I was listening to a figure I was reading a thread on crypto Twitter a couple of days ago, and it was showing how little people actually take profits from this market. In a bull market, it's relatively easy to make money in crypto. it's very, very difficult to keep that money because you need to have a plan to actually take profits. And in this market, there's always people shouting for higher prices. You always get trapped in that up-only mentality when it comes to your portfolio. So making a plan and sticking to it is super important, and choosing to dollar cost average in for the first half of this year and then begin to start dollar cost averaging out when possible. Now, one mistake that I made in the previous cycle was that I was taking profits from things, but then I was moving those profits into other investments. So I would take profits from one token, realize those profits, and then I would go and buy an altcoin that had a $10 million market cap that carried huge risk. And yes, that was performing well because I was just rolling profits from one investment to another, staying on top of the trends. But then the markets crashed. And when the markets crashed, those lucrative altcoins were the first thing to lose all of their value. So that's a mistake I made in the previous cycle, and one that I do not want to be making again. That's why I'm choosing to dollar cost average in for the first half of this year and dollar cost average out for the second half of this year. This is not financial advice. I'm not saying this is going to be a successful strategy. That is just the strategy I've chosen to adopt. There are lots of strategies, different strategies out there. Some people have a much more profitable strategy than I do because I like to take on as little risk as possible. But you need to create your own plan, and we can help you do that on Crypto Saving Expert through that free course if you go to cryptosavingexpert.com and sign up there. So definitely make sure to do so. Let's take a look at what's going on in the chat here. Jonathan says, I meant to say orange is still in accumulation zone. That'll teach me for trying to use dictation. Jonathan said, I was scared to open my exchange accounts recently, but I'm actually still up compared to a week ago. Not bad, not bad. Let's see what's going on here. Jonathan says, I'm considering joining CSE Plus Premium. You definitely should. If you join CSE Plus Premium, I believe we have a premium call tomorrow. Let me check my calendar to see when that is. So with CSE Plus, the community and the premium membership, we have a Discord channel where we talk about anything in the cryptocurrency space. That includes myself, the CSE team, and that Martini guy on a call with you, where it's basically like a Google Meet, but it's in Discord. It's called Town Hall, and it's when you can have not 1-to-1, but 1-to-20 calls with the CSE team, ask any questions, pick our brains, and listen to what that Martini guy thinks about the markets and what's ahead and where all the excitement is, where the hype is, and where his focus is for the coming week. So they're really useful. We have CSE Plus community calls once per week, and we have CSE Plus premium calls once a week as well. No, there's differences there. I think that there's more premium calls than community calls. I will have to check on this. I should know this. I go to them. But so we do have the premium call tomorrow. I've just checked my calendar. That's set in stone. So if you want to join CSE Plus Premium, make sure to do it today before that call tomorrow, so you don't miss out on that. That was a waffle, wasn't it? Jonathan says, only 7 likes. Smash those likes, bros. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. We do these live streams every single weekday. We have 26 people watching on YouTube right now and only 10 likes, so please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button. Let's take a look at what else is going on here. Jonathan looks a bit like a head and shoulders pattern. Let's take a look at the charts here. Stone1YGM says, can anyone explain why Ethereum ETF is unlikely? We will be going through that in today's stream, so make sure to stay tuned until the very end. I don't see a head and shoulders pattern here. I assume if you were wanting to find one, I'm drawing in white. Let's not draw in white on a white background. Let's draw in purple. There we go. So let's delete that and try that again. Tell me if this is right. I assume that you're looking at this as a head and shoulders pattern. Is that? And when I look at this, I don't get confirmation here, because you would actually have to draw the neckline there, and then you'd be looking at, let's put the music back on for some action. We'll be looking at this as your head and shoulders pattern. Yeah, it's possible. It's not very nice. It's not very equal. And if we were to take that from there to the neckline and put that to the point of breakout, it would give us a price target of $58,200. It's possible. It's not the neatest head and shoulders pattern. We haven't had a confirmation bounce of that neckline, but I don't like it too much. As I said in yesterday's stream, when patterns jump out to me and when levels of support and resistance jump out to me, that's typically when they're there. When I'm sat trying to look for one constantly, it doesn't give me much confidence, and it tends to be that those levels aren't respected as much as the ones that are blinding the obvious. Now, obviously, when you first look at the charts as an investor, as a trader trying to learn technical analysis, nothing is really blinding the obvious, but as time goes on and you can see the changes in the charts, it's much easier to see the levels of support and resistance. And if you're still finding it hard to find them, then I believe they are weaker levels. Let's take a look at what's going on. Jonathan says, actually, I was thinking a horizontal line a bit higher, just noticed, haven't checked. Horizontal line a little bit higher, I can't see one. On the 4-hour chart, on the 1-hour chart, let me know what chart you're on. Let's take a look at what's going on here. Good afternoon, Stuart. Thank you very much for tuning in, as always, and Rob C. Let's see what's going on here. Anders says down until halving. Perfectly well possible. If we take a look at what's happened in previous cycles, we know, in fact, we did a CSE article on this yesterday, so let's pull that up and we can go through that once again. I'll pull that up as well because that's an interesting article that wasn't on when I started to prepare today's stream. Let's find this article that we discussed yesterday. Pre-halving danger zone. So we saw in 2016 when we had a halving, Bitcoin fell 40%, and in 2020 when we had a halving, Bitcoin fell 20%. We have been speaking about this on these live streams a lot because we have seen these pullbacks historically. So typically they occur within 14 to 28 days pre-halving. We are currently around 30 days pre-halving. We have been in this pullback for a week already. So this would mean that we are 37 days pre-halving, having a pre-halving dump. Now, when you put all of this information together, it's changed. It's different. We are seeing we've already seen a Bitcoin all-time high pre-halving. So this cycle is acting differently. If we take a look at this and say this is the pre-halving dip, then that's different again because we have started 37 days before the halving instead of 14 to 28. And also, I've just taken a look at the previous cycle earlier in today's stream, and we said, look, the Bitcoin pullbacks in the bull market typically last around 30 days. Now, for this to be the pre-halving dump, we'd need it to last way longer than that. And in this point in time, I don't think having a dump for that long is a hugely likely scenario. If we take a look at the previous halving, for example, and we go to the daily chart, you can see that we saw a pre-halving dump significantly here. So then we went down all the way 20% there. Now this dump only lasted, so we had the Bitcoin halving on the 11th of May, and we had a quick dump there of 20% just before. If we take a look at the halving prior to this, we've not got it on this chart. Let's go to BTC USD. Here we go. If we go to the chart prior to this and we take a look at this dump, you can see that we had a 40% dump according to that analyst. Let's confirm that. A 30% dump here, but it went to 40% over the next couple of weeks. This was a 51-day pullback. In fact, we never really hit those pre-halving prices again. I can't scroll with this tool on until... Let's see, when did we next exceed those prices? 193 days later. Now, I don't think this is the most likely scenario either. I think what's happening here is we are seeing a pre-halving dump. It could be that this dump recovers pretty quickly and then we see a real pre-halving dump nearer the time. We have 30 days until the Bitcoin halving, and typically this is much earlier than the pre-halving dump that we typically see. So it could be, look, that we recover pretty quickly and then have another one in 30 days time. Or it could be that we sit at these price points for the Bitcoin halving Or it could be, I know I'm saying every scenario here, that we recover and this is the Bitcoin halving dip and we don't really see another one around the halving time. I think the most likely scenario here at this point in time is that we continue to dip a little bit further. I don't expect this to last 40 days and continue past the Bitcoin halving in 30 days. I do see us recovering quicker than that. 2-3-4 week pullbacks are typical in a bull market. We have already been down for a week. So for us to continue to be down for the next 4 weeks would be starting to edge a little bit longer than typically expected, and with what's happened we seem to have been exceeding and moving much faster than we have done in previous cycles. So I think the most likely scenario in my brain here is we do recover pre-halving. Second most likely is we continue to dump down to $50,000, hit that minus 30% pullback, and then we start to see some more positive price action like a week before the halving. Third most likely scenario is that we just dump and we go down and we just have bearish momentum for the next 4 or 5 weeks and we see a mega long pullback for that pre-halving dump. I honestly think that's the least likely scenario, but we will have to see how this plays out. It's a pretty interesting one here because we're not used to seeing a Bitcoin all-time high pre-halving, so we can go off previous cycles and reflect that onto what's happening now, but the trend is slightly different. Let's see. Monkey Nut says, I don't think we can strictly go by previous bull runs and dropping lower than previous high and breaking all-time high before halving. Yeah, I mean, exactly. Monkey Nuts, the markets have changed in a way. We've seen a huge move to the upside a lot earlier than a lot of people expected. We've seen a new all-time high. This time could be different. I know I don't want to say that. I think the price action can still be pretty similar. I don't think we can be shocked by 20-30% pullbacks in this bull market, for example. I think those kinds of trends still stand. We've already seen a 22% pullback and a 16% pullback since the Bitcoin ETFs went live, so we cannot expect to go just in a move to the upside, a solid move to the upside, but we do need to be aware that things seem to be happening very quickly. The move to the upside has been very quick, so maybe the pullbacks will be very quick and we will continue to see this solid price action continue to print. I am coming around to the idea that this bull market will be shorter than a lot of people anticipate and that everything has moved around to the left, down to the left slightly. So with that in mind, that's why I'm seeing the pullback being a 4-5 week process as the least likely scenario here, but we will have to see how this plays out. This is all just kind of making predictions, but nobody knows for sure. Thank you so much, Retro Mike Tech, for that $5 donation. We very much appreciate that on the channel. Sorry, I missed that before. He says, good morning, Jess. Happy to be able to make a CSE stream. Thank you very much for tuning in, as always, and thank you so much for that donation. Very much appreciate it. We enjoy seeing the same names in the chat every single day. It's very motivating. When I first started these live chats, these live streams, there was like 2 people in the live chat every day. If I was lucky, I'd get a message in the live chat. And it's hard to stream when you're talking to yourself. It's nice to have people talking in the live chat, making conversation here. Let's take a look at what's going on here. Stone1YGM says, do you think we get an alt season this cycle with the BTC dominance chart dropping? Well, I have an interesting take on this because I would love to see altcoins perform really, really well. That is where we historically have made a lot of our profits in the cryptocurrency space. But I am cautious here that maybe the Bitcoin dominance will hold stronger than it has done in previous cycles. That does not mean we will not get an altcoin season. I believe altcoin season has already started. The meme coin sector has had a huge pump. The AI sector has had a huge pump. We have seen altcoins absolutely fly to the moon over the last couple of months. And I believe we will have more sectors in the future that will do incredibly well and outperform Bitcoin and those top high cap coins. But with that being said, I have questions around how much Bitcoin's dominance will fall in this cycle, dependent on whether the Ethereum ETF gets over the line. When we look at these ETFs, you can see that Bitcoin does not have that really high barrier to entry that it once had, because the Bitcoin ETFs make it easy for people to get exposure to the Bitcoin price. When we look at altcoins, though, that is not the case. They still have that barrier to entry. For people to invest in altcoins and into Ethereum, they need to learn how to sign up to a centralized exchange. They need to find out which one is available in their region. They need to put in their KYC information. They need to trust that exchange after all that FTX malarkey. A lot of people don't trust centralized exchanges anymore that don't know much about crypto because it did hit mainstream media. So there's that whole process there. They then need to learn how to deposit their funds, buy the cryptocurrency, whereas with a Bitcoin ETF, you can literally just invest into it as simply as you do any other stock. So with that, Bitcoin does not have the barrier to entry that the rest of the cryptocurrency space still has. Now, if the Ethereum ETFs go live, we can look at the Ethereum ETFs and be very positive that, look, that's not got a barrier to entry either, and we could see altcoins having their own ETFs as well. But if it doesn't go live, then we have a huge difference there, and I think that barrier to entry is having a real impact on the prices and the money inflow. So if we take a look at the Bitcoin dominance here, you can see that the Bitcoin dominance typically falls within a bull market because, look, we have this halving and then a couple of months and the Bitcoin dominance falls drastically. Same happened here. But if we continue to see the amount of inflows that we're seeing for these Bitcoin ETFs, that could hold the Bitcoin dominance really strong. And I believe that is why we haven't yet found a bottom on the Ethereum Bitcoin chart, which we typically do just a couple of months prior to the halving. So we can see on the previous cycle that this chart bottomed out just a couple of months pre-halving, and then we saw Ethereum really outperform Bitcoin in the previous cycle. In this time around, we are 1 month away from the Bitcoin halving. Ethereum is yet to find a bottom here for the Ethereum Bitcoin price. I'm hoping that still comes, and I'm hoping we do see a nice amount of inflows into Ethereum and altcoins and into the underlying assets. But right now with these Bitcoin ETFs, the Bitcoin dominance is holding strong, and that means that other coins are performing a little bit less strong against them as we typically expect. I hope that makes sense. It is quite complicated, but then my thoughts on the market right now. That does not mean I don't expect an altcoin season. It just means that maybe we will be able to see Bitcoin hold up more of the dominance than we have seen in previous cycles. But we will get onto the Ethereum ETFs in just a second. Let's just continue through the news at the price of Bitcoin here and see what's going on. Jonathan says, I didn't know you were streaming back then. Since the first video I watched, I was impressed. At first, I just thought they had you there because you're pretty. Then I realized you actually know what you're talking about too. Thanks, Jonathan. Jonathan says we will definitely see an alt run, but it will be driven by Solana too, not just Ethereum. Very true, monkey nuts. Yeah, I think there will be some altcoins on different platforms that will be performing well as well. We did see Ethereum ETFs Ethereum transaction prices go extremely high in the previous cycle. We've already seen that start to begin again in this cycle. So yes, people will probably be looking at other application platforms to launch their cryptocurrencies for those lower transaction fees. We may see that spread out a little bit more. Let's see what's going on here. Anders says, taking profit buying gold from pawn shops. Nice necklace at 25% plus gold spot. So yeah, diversifying and taking profits is super important, and not just taking profits and rolling them into another altcoin is really important, and that was a big lesson that I learned in the last cycle. Randy says, good morning, Jess. It's been a heck of a week enjoying the stream today. Thank you very much for tuning in. As always, I very much appreciate it. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. If we take a look at what is going on here, good afternoon, Christian. Thank you very much for tuning in, as always. We don't have too much of a liquidation level to be watching out for on the bigger time frames here, so I'm not too concerned about this chart for the time being. This is particularly useful when we are holding a price range or looking at higher prices. Not particularly useful when we are in a pullback because a lot of liquidations have just happened, so there isn't too much heat on the heat map. So we need to keep an eye on this chart, but it's not too important right now. If we take a look at the fear and greed index, we have finally seen us drop down into greed from extreme greed. We are now at 74, so this is a positive thing. I like to see this start to cool off when we see a pullback here, and it was taking a while for this to be impacted from this pullback. But let's take a look at what's going on in the cryptocurrency news. And now we have a lot to discuss here, and we've already been on stream for 35 minutes and we've not yet spoke about what's going on in the news. It's called the Daily Crypto News Show. We need to talk about the news. So let's take a look at this first of all. we've already taken a look at this one. Not this one yet. Let's pull this back. Here we go. MicroStrategy now holds over 1% of Bitcoin supply after buying the dips. They accumulated another 9,245 Bitcoin over 8 days, bringing their total stash to 214,246 Bitcoin. Now, this means that they hold 1% of the circulating of the total supply, which is capped at 21 million coins, although the company accumulated its total Bitcoin stash at approximately $7.53 billion at an average price of $35,160 per Bitcoin. Its Bitcoin portfolio is now worth over $14 billion. They have almost doubled their $7.53 billion investment. Absolutely insane there. The company's nearly 4-year-long Bitcoin purchasing spree has paid off here. The firm ranks number 1 among publicly traded companies holding Bitcoin. It looks like more companies are looking to accumulate Bitcoin as well and follow suit after the success of MicroStrategy and after the launch of these Bitcoin ETFs as well. So nice to see this here. Bitcoin still super positive with institutional investment and the Bitcoin ETFs, but we can't say the same about Ethereum. So first of all, on the Bitcoin ETFs, the GBTC have seen the largest outflow to date. This will continue, but it will not continue forever. Grayscale only have a certain amount of Bitcoin. When that Bitcoin and those people sell their GBTC, they can't sell it again. So that's the positive thing to look out for here. Yes, it's creating some outflows for the Bitcoin ETFs, but it will come to an end at some point in time. Now, $640 million flowed out of GBTC 2 days ago on Monday as a net outflow from all the ETFs was noted for the first time since the 1st of March. This was because of the volume of the outflows from GBTC. So I think it's important. Just get it all over and done with. Pull it all out. If you want to pull it out, pull it all out. So that's what is happening there. But I want to talk more about what's going on with the Ethereum ETFs. We have seen Bloomberg analysts say that Fidelity not giving up on Ethereum ETFs and not giving up on the SEC, allowing them to stay within the ETF. Our base case is still that these aren't gonna be approved. So the Ethereum ETFs applications are with the SEC. The SEC need to decide by the 23rd of March if the ETFs can go live or not. If they do, we could see a huge amount of inflows into Ethereum, like we've seen with the Bitcoin ETFs, and it would be really bullish for the altcoin space. And we could even see some altcoin ETFs being people trying to create altcoin ETFs as well, like a Solana ETF, a Polkadot ETF. The potential there would be extreme, but it's looking less and less likely as time goes on that the Ethereum ETFs will go live. If we take a look at what's been happening, there hasn't been much, 23rd of May, not 23rd of March. There hasn't been much activity between the SEC and the companies trying to create these Ethereum ETFs, and that is seen as a negative because when we looked at the Bitcoin ETF applications, there was a huge amount of activity. The issuers were taking conversations with the SEC, making amendments to their filings to make it something that the SEC would accept. Here we seem to be doing the opposite. Fidelity have chosen to add staking to their ETF application form and making that filing a little bit more complex. And that's not what we want to be seeing. We want to be seeing them cooperating with the SEC and doing anything they can to initially get these over the line and then making those amendments later. But that's not been happening here. So with this lack of activity and this big ask from Fidelity, analysts are saying, look, there is a lower possibility that these ETFs will get accepted. The likelihood did move from the general amount of 50% to 35% last week or at the start of this week. So we are seeing some fears around this, but we will have to wait until that final deadline for a certain answer. Let's see what else is going on in the news today. So carrying on with the Ethereum ETF approval, the SEC has delayed the ETFs once again. As we all know, they have 3 deadlines where they can reject, accept, or deny the ETFs, and then they have a final deadline where they can no longer delay their decision. Here they have chosen to delay their decision once again. I don't think that's a shock at all. With the Bitcoin ETFs, they've delayed it as much as possible. I do expect they're doing this here too, for sure. They don't want to just accept these and let them go into the markets now. They don't like these products. So it is going to take the longest time possible, which takes us to the 23rd of May. So we will be reporting on that on this channel, and we'll be keeping up with the news on the run up to that date as well. So please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. Let's take a look at what else is going on here in the charts. So Tornado Cash developer accused of laundering $1.2 billion. The Dutch prosecutors made the allegations against the developer. Tornado Cash is a cryptocurrency mixer. It's essentially somewhere where you can send money into it, send crypto into it, receive crypto out of it, and the trail of where that cryptocurrency comes from is disappeared because you are mixing your cryptocurrency within that protocol with many other transactions, and it all gets bundled up, so you don't know where it actually came from, what address it came from, and what address it's gone to. It's very hard to track that. It's not impossible, but it's hard. So the Tornado Cash developer has been accused of laundering $1.2 billion via the Tornado Cash protocol. So he's set to go to trial in the Netherlands on the 26th of March. Leading up to the trial, Dutch prosecutors have provided details of the case. It is alleged that he made a habit of committing money laundering and conducted 36 illicit transactions. However, him and his lawyers have denied the accusations. So we'll have to see how this plays out. We will be staying on top of this news. I think this is a really interesting conversation because initially the developer got into a lot of trouble for developing Tornado Cash in the first place. Now, this wasn't necessarily something I agreed with because all he had done is created a protocol and launched it onto a decentralized network. The people that were using the network for illicit transactions were the problem rather than the developer, in a sense. However, if he was the person making the illicit transactions as well, that's the change of story. So we want to stay up to date with this one. It's a really interesting one, and it caused a lot of controversy on Twitter over what should happen here as a developer creating a project to people using that project for illicit transactions. Who was at fault? Big question that has not really been answered yet. Let's take a look at what else is going on here. So Bitcoin builder OrangeDX announces $1.5 million raise. I have some news about this OrangeDX actually. Let me pull up some information here. First of all, we have seen that they have sold out their public round on Finceptor. So we've got their tweet that I can pull up right here. OrangeDX public round on Finceptor app is officially sold out, so thanks to the incredible community for the lightning fast support. Other news we have from OrangeDX is that their platform feature. Let's pull this up. We've done some tweets about this on Crypto Saving Expert Twitter. This is what I wanted to discuss today. So OrangeDX celebrates launch week. This week is packed with excitement and launch ITOs. As the public sale has officially sold out here. And there's some information here from Crypto Saving Expert. If you follow Crypto Saving Expert on Twitter, we talk about a lot of projects that we're interested in. We do these live streams on Twitter as well. If you are watching over on Twitter, make sure to head over to YouTube, give us a like, subscribe, press the bell notification button. We also have some other tweets about different projects that we are interested in. We've done a bunch of tweets on OrangeDX talking about what the project is, what the protocol is. So we actually have an article here as well. Where can I pull this up? Sorry, my brain is not working today. If we go to news and we go to, here we go. We've got the first article here, but we have a second one from yesterday. Let's see if we can find it. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification button so you don't miss what's going on in the cryptocurrency space. I've scrolled too far here. Do we have it? Can we see it here? Can anybody see it here? We had an article on this yesterday. Let's go through this most recent one first of all anyway. So OrangeDX has announced a $1.5 million raise ahead of its anticipated launch at the end of March. So it's secured $1.5 million in funding ahead of its highly anticipated launch at the end of March. The platform has gained support from investors such as GBV Capital and lots of other investors there as well. During the summer of 2020, the crypto landscape witnessed a landmark change. The sector witnessed a surge in alternative layer 1 protocols and thriving ecosystems in what became known as DeFi summer. The period witnessed rapid change and an influx of new participants into the space. We did see BRC20 projects launch as well. Now, OrangeDX as a project is ambitious, aiming to empower users with the ability to trade, swap, bridge, and launch BRC20 projects effortlessly. So it's a platform that perfectly positioned at the intersection of Bitcoin and DeFi. We've done a load of tweets on this, and they have just sold out their public round on Finceptor. So there's a lot of excitement over what the potential is when building on the Bitcoin network and around BRC20 tokens. And OrangeDX are an interesting protocol trying to facilitate that and make it a lot easier for people to swap and make transactions there with the BRC20 tokens. So it's definitely an interesting one there, and I think there is a lot of hype to come around BRC20 tokens as well. I know that's something that Martini guy is super interested in and has been interested in within the last couple of weeks, because it's a sector where we're seeing a lot of hype around Bitcoin because of these Bitcoin ETFs, and we're seeing a huge amount of inflows to BRC20 tokens. So it's interesting to look at the different protocols and the infrastructure that we can build there. Originally, I will admit, I was very much against building on the Bitcoin network and using the Bitcoin blockchain as anything other than a peer-to-peer payment system. But as time is going on, we are seeing the hype there. And I have turned my nose up at things before, like the meme coin sector, the NFT sector, because it's not something that I wholeheartedly believe in, but there is hype there, there is communities there, and there is definitely a sector that is growing in interest and seeing a huge amount of inflows. So it's a sector that I've taken a closer look at, and I'm understanding the advantages now and the potential in that sector. But let's take a look at what else is going on here in the news. First of all, Green Bean in this chat says, the question is, if Ethereum ETF is approved, will Bitcoin lose half its allocations, or will advisors allocate an additional percentage? I'm leaning towards Bitcoin will suffer inflows from this, but what do I know, lol. Interesting question there. So, Peter Dell says in the chat, Jess has great value and interesting reviews, unlike some of these channels uploading about Shiba to get $1. Still bitter about Shiba, I see Peter. Let's see what Peter Dell is saying here. The market has gone bonkers. Hey, but the correction is what was needed. It is healthy, 100%. Seeing a correction, seeing us build new levels of support, seeing us test previous levels of support or resistance is super important for the health of the Bitcoin price. Peter Dell says, I hate Shiba. I know, I can tell by now, Peter. Let's see what's going on here. Question is, if an Ethereum ETF goes live, will it mean that Bitcoin ETFs suffer? Good question. I think when we're looking at what's happening here, a lot of these institutions are looking to get exposure to the Bitcoin price. I think an extra percentage would get allocated to Ethereum on the whole. I wouldn't expect to see a huge amount of money flowing out of the Bitcoin ETFs into the Ethereum ETFs. A lot of people that have invested through the Bitcoin ETFs have seen nice returns, and they may want to expand their diversify their portfolio within the cryptocurrency space. Maybe new people that are coming into the ETFs and wanting to get exposure to crypto after an Ethereum ETF goes live will choose to allocate a smaller percentage overall, but I don't think it'll take away from the advantages that Bitcoin's seen so far. But who knows? That's an interesting question, and not a question that I've seen raised before. I think with the people that have already invested into Bitcoin ETFs, they've already seen a nice return on the whole, so they will be interested to diversify into the crypto space a little bit more. And then for those that have not got exposure to either yet, if the Ethereum ETF goes live, they may look at getting exposure to both. I think that's the most likely scenario here with these big institutions. They're looking to invest in things, and the cryptocurrency spaces seem to be a really volatile sector. So these big institutions are only really wanting exposure to those high cap coins, to Bitcoin, to Ethereum. They can't be investing in coins that have like a $10 million market cap, because they will just give it no value at all. If they invest in something like that, then they have the ability to flood that market and dump that token at any point in time. That is not what they want. They want to be invested in a strong market. So looking at the high cap coins is really important. Diversifying in that is really important, but they're going to be sticking to those two really. Let's take a look at what else is going on in the chat here. SBF lawyers slam death in prison sentence proposal citing lack of losses. So SBF defense argued that no tangible losses occurred after FTX. So they are seeking a reduced 78-month sentence instead. Interesting proposal here. So the lawyers have said Its precious loss narrative casts Sam as a depraved supervillain. Its attributes hint at dark and megalomania. Do you know what? I'm even going to try and say that. Motivates that fly in the face of the record. It makes apocalyptic prophecies of why is this article testing me so much though? Make it easy for me. Make it easy for me. My brain is stuttering. It adopts a medieval view of punishment to reach that amount of death in prison sentencing recommendation. So they're looking to reduce the sentence to around 78 months there. Do you know what? I think they'll get away with something like this. I don't see him going to prison for the rest of his life. And we've been saying that since FTX first collapsed here on the channel. We had that Martini guy on and he was saying, look, we're probably going to see him get away with a pretty light sentence. And that is what I really do think is happening right now. We will see the defense fight, and I think that is a likely scenario, but we'll see how that plays out. Jonathan says your brain is still on holiday. My brain is definitely still on holiday. I want to be back in that sunshine for sure. Let's take a look at what else is going on here. Solana drops over 15% in a single day, giving up most of its weekly gains. We went through this over the start of today's stream. We had a look at that chart there, so make sure to check that out if you have not done so already. And the final article of the day is BlackRock launches $100 million tokenized asset fund using Ethereum. This is one of the biggest stories of the day, so we have left this till last. The technical details of the fund and which asset classes it aims to tokenize were not disclosed in the filing and remain unclear. But what we have seen here is a massive transaction. We have seen the fund has been seeded with initial capital of 100 million USDC on the Ethereum blockchain. The companies have yet to make a public announcement and did not respond to a request for comment as of press time. But there's a huge opportunity here. The technical details of the fund and which asset classes it aims to tokenize were not disclosed in the filing and remain unclear. But we're saying, look, blockchains are being utilized, and that's what's most important here. Real world assets are gaining attention again off the back of this. The establishment of the BlackRock USD Institutional Digital Liquidity Fund is reflective of the increasing interest in the tokenization of real world assets. This emerging sector aims to combine the capabilities of digital assets with traditional finance to streamline the settlement process and enhance transactional efficiency via blockchain technology. So, I can't even try that, Peter Dell. What we've got here is real world assets gaining attention here. Even BlackRock are looking to move some of their tokens onto the blockchain so they can have those seamless transactions. They can have that fast transaction from peer to peer and make easy payments and easy transactions of real world assets and tokenizing those assets. And with BlackRock looking to do this, we could see lots of other institutions pay more attention to what's going on here as well and the underlying technology of the cryptocurrency space. So it is very, very interesting. Monkey Dot says, my brain will be in Spain tomorrow for 2 weeks. Very, very nice. I am very jealous. Rob said, did you get email about Swissbook and FCA? Yes, I did. So if you are a Swissbook user in the UK, you can no longer deposit cryptocurrency or fiat. So you can no longer use that as an on or off ramp for your crypto. They are looking to cooperate with the FCA regulations. I hope they bring those features back as soon as possible. It seems like they are working on it. It's a work in progress. That Martini guy will know a lot more about that than I do because he has been having conversations there with the team about that. But so if you are interested in that, make sure if you are a CSE Premium member to ask those questions in the call that we have tomorrow with the CSE Premium with the CSE Premium users. We have a call with the team tomorrow at 1 p.m. I think it was. So make sure to check that out if you are a premium member. If you are not a premium member and you want to be in that call, make sure to join Crypto Saving Expert Premium on cryptosavingexpert.com. All you need to do is go to cryptosavingexpert.com, press join CSE Plus here, scroll to the bottom, choose the premium membership, press sign up and create your account there. It's as easy as that, and you get access to calls with the CSE team regularly every single week, and you get access to the community Discord and the premium Discord, and you get access to lots of other stuff like cryptocurrency courses. So make sure to check that out if you have not done already. But that's all we have for today's stream. So thank you very much for tuning in. As always, I very much appreciate it. We will be back tomorrow with another live stream. And my brain won't be in holiday mode then. It will be back in work mode. So make sure to tune in then. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell notification button. Thank you very much for watching. And I will see you all back here tomorrow. Goodbye.